Hey everybody, Young C back at it again with another video. Today we got the Power Rankings number 31 team, the 49ers, and taking a look at their schedule and taking a look at their roster, they're pretty trash. Now let's start with Dead, the player who's not going to have any chance of success. And that player is going to be the quarterback, Brian Hoyer. He's in his 9th season, and through all 9 seasons, he's been a perennial backup. And now that he's a starter, that's not going to change. He's still going to be a backup quarterback who puts up backup numbers. It's going to be pretty bad. He can't change his career at this point. It's going to be the way it is. Next we have Deep Sleep, and these are the players who might be good but are pretty much going to be trash. And those players would be the secondary, more specifically the cornerbacks. Now let's look at the cornerbacks right here. Their number 1 corner is going to be Rashard Robinson, and their number 2 is going to be Dante Johnson. Have we ever heard of any of these guys? I sure haven't. And then looking at their backups too, it's just going to be a rough year. The wide receivers who play against them are going to go off. They're just going to have career games against them. Next we have Waking Up, the players who might be due for a breakout season this year. And my prediction is going to be Pierre Garçon. He just came over from Washington, where he was in the shadow of Deshaun Jackson. And now he has a chance to come out and be a number 1 receiver finally. And we'll see what he can do. I predict him to have a big year this year in fantasy. And then Woke will be Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, it's kind of rough when you have to have your Woke as the head coach. But, the San Francisco's in a pretty bad spot. And Kyle Shanahan will finally get his chance after coming over from Atlanta, where he got a lot of the blame for the Super Bowl loss, but he's a really good coach. I could totally see him having huge success here, despite the fact he has Brian Hoyer as his quarterback. So that's the roster, and it looks a lot better than it has in past years, but it's still going to be interesting and a long year for them. Now let's head over to the season schedule. The schedule is pretty hard, and our first scheduled topic will be the one-on-one matchup of the year, and this is actually week 2, and it's Eddie Lacy of the Seahawks versus Navarro Bowman and the front 7 of the 49ers. This is a huge game. Like, Eddie Lacy is a premier running back, well, before his injuries, and he's still a bruiser. So we'll see how good the 49ers really are when it comes to their front 7 and their defense when they get a real bruiser at running back in Eddie Lacy. Now the next game is the what to watch for, and that is against the Redskins, which this has a bunch of intriguing matchups right here on October 15th. It has Pierre Garçon versus old team, which is sure to be an interesting dynamic and an interesting rivalry. And then it has the Redskins' terrible receivers against just a terrible secondary. And the Redskins do have Kirk Cousins, which will really help because I think Kirk Cousins is one of the best quarterbacks in the league who gets underrated all the time, which is one of the reasons he's getting paid so much, even though, it's kind of hard to say whether he should be getting that much, but one thing's for certain, he is a good quarterback. And now the next matchup that we'll be talking about is the turn off game, which is the game that you have to turn off the TV and watch something else. And that will be the game against the New York Giants here on November 12th. And why should you turn off this game? Odell and Brandon Marshall will destroy, just obliterate the 49ers secondary. Not only that, but they have Evan Ingram and Sterling Shepard, which are some of the best slot and tight ends in the league. So it's gonna be a slaughterhouse. That game's not worth watching. Now, my final prediction for the record is actually it's about as much as you would expect, I guess. I have them at 3-13 with getting wins more like they'll pull out a game at the start of the season. My prediction would be against maybe the Redskins, and then I think they'll end up winning some of these last couple of games. They do have the Rams twice, which gives them a great chance at one win, and then they have the Bears and then the Jaguars, who will be pretty bad. So my prediction is they'll end up 3-13, and they'll be high up in the draft again. Peace.